Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
How diddly do?
How are you, Jason?
I'm good. We're alive. Hopefully, no more tornadoes today. So, for all those of you watching the weather stuff, we were in that area, but thankfully we are okay. But about 7 miles south of us, they got hammered, and fortunately, no deaths. But yeah, we're doing okay. So,
Amen for that.
yeah.
Tornadoes are no joke in the Midwest.
Yeah, it's weird, and they keep getting closer and closer to our area. I'm like, go back to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I thought they were only in Kansas.
Right? Yeah. We are definitely not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what are we talking about this morning?
Yeah, I have no clue. It's something about scaling your business the right way. I mean, is there a wrong way to scale your business? I guess so. Yeah.
Oh, I know there's a wrong way. I've tried it the wrong way.
I think we all know there's definitely a wrong way to scale your business.
There's lots of wrong ways to do lots of things in your business.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about the mindset shift that fuels real growth.
Yeah. Taking your crew to a company.
Yes. But you got to have a crew.
Got to have a crew.
That's the only way to scale. You got to start hiring people. You can't grow a business as a one-man show. It just doesn't happen.
True. Yeah. All right. Well, here we go.
So we're going to talk about a lot of mistakes today. A lot of what not to do's, some actionable tips, and some quick implementation that you can do to get started scaling and start building your business.
And I'm going to give you a tool that's going to help you get there. And it's in the link that I've got underneath my name. I got a hammer. Hammer helps, but the link that's right by my name, we're going to start right there. So I'm promoting that link today. That's my promotion for today.
All right, we'll talk about that in a minute.
You betcha.
All right. Let's pray us in. Then you can do the verse, and then we'll get right into the content.
Sounds good.
Dear Heavenly Lord, I want to thank you for this opportunity and growth and learning and just representing you, Lord. Help us to just represent you and honor you and fulfill your goals, your plan, and use us to the fullest extent that you need us to do that good work. Lord, I want to thank you for allowing us to get together and be a community, learn from each other, grow with each other, and scale with each other. And I ask that you guide us with your hand through the process and help us avoid all the mistakes that we can make and not rely on our own judgment. It's in your precious name, I pray. Amen.
Wow. We got a preacher in the house today. Hey, good morning to Garrison, by the way. Thanks for chiming in.
Good morning, Garrison.
So, well, and there's that other really handsome fella.
That guy?
Yeah,
Jason?
that guy. And that other guy.
Oh, the other Jason?
Yeah, that guy, too. Hey, if you wonder why I do that, it's to help with the algorithms, the SEO, all that good stuff. So I go onto my own channel and post and click like. Same with my Facebook page. So just think about that for your own stuff. Whenever you're a good little tip on your social media, when you're posting on your social media, go ahead and go on there, click like, share it to your own personal page. Get your friends to do the same. It just helps. So anyway, quick little tip. Hey, let's see. The verse today, I'm going to go with Luke 16:10, and this is out of the ESV. One who is faithful in a very little. It's an interesting way to say that. One who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much. That in a gets me. One who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Anyway, that's just an encouragement to build trust with small tasks before taking on more. I tell people I've done a lot of demos this week with Mom, and and I know you get this a lot with your bigger package. There's just so much that can be done. You know, the bigger package with your website company is just, there's so much. Just take 2, 3 maybe blocks, 3 maybe block chunks, and just tackle those 2, 3 things before you move on. And that's with anything in life. Don't get overwhelmed having this super, super long list. You know, I've got my whiteboard over here and I have a ton of things on my whiteboard, but I look at 2 things at a time. All right, I can tackle this one right at this moment. I'm not going to tackle that one right now. And so there are 2 or 3 things that I tackle at a time. So I think that's a good verse right there. Tackle the little stuff.
Yeah.
You know, before you tackle the big stuff.
Yeah. I'm a huge proponent of task lists. And like you, I look at my board or my list, many lists, whatever it is, and I knock out the easy ones first. And then I feel accomplished and I can knock out a whole bunch of easy stuff. And then my list is a lot smaller and it's not overwhelming.
Yep.
And then I can tackle and focus on the bigger stuff.
Well, every morning I'll add something to it. Like this morning, I added a couple things onto it, and it's like, all right, those are easy, small tasks. I'm sure I'll be able to get to that by the end of the day. And if not, hey, tomorrow it'll still be there, and I'll tackle it then.
Yeah. So let's get into this content. What's our first one? Recognizing the limiting beliefs that can keep you small.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about little tasks. What are those little limiting beliefs that aren't letting you grow? We've all got them.
Mike, I think only I can do this section. So I don't know about that. Yeah. No, the point of this is create systems that others can do those things well. A simple system is, hey, you want an outlet changed out correctly, how you want it done, create a video. And that way you've got that video. You know, you can use Vimeo, there's Loom, there's all kinds of video services out there that you can have as a subscription that you can literally quadruple yourself or more. You know, the old movie Multiplicity. You remember seeing that one?
Yes.
Great movie. But look at the trouble it created them, right? So if you just take a video, you record what you're wanting done. This is how you do a dryer vent cleaning, right? Then you can use that as a teaching tool down the road and start doubling yourself, start quadrupling yourself. Those are the cool things. I love videos and teaching people how to do stuff through videos. So, but yeah, get rid of that only I can do this mentality. Yeah, for sure.
Everyone is replaceable, including you.
Including
everyone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have any competition.
And I tell you,
right?
Once you get that mindset that you are replaceable, whoo, that can be one of those humbling moments.
Changes.
And you can be replaced by literally just about anybody. You know, I'm looking at Austin now and what he's doing with the business, and he's taking this business to completely the next level. And he's teaching me and showing me things. It's like, oh, okay, I can do that. You know, that's where mom comes in. I mean, I'm stretching myself getting into my office manager because it's a totally different world that I'm not used to. And so I'm having to learn things. Bass, you know, the church that we started going to now that we're at, we've been there about 4 years. Yeah, almost 5 years, I think. Playing bass, it's one of those things that I had my ways that I was set in, but this church has stretched me on getting outside of my comfort zone with playing bass, and it's made me a better musician. That's the cool thing, is like, get those things that are going to stretch you a little bit and make you better at what you want to be better at.
Yeah, you can't see the label on the outside of the box when you're in the inside of the box, right?
Yeah.
So get out of your box. We all get in our boxes and end up getting stuck in our own ways and thinking our way is the best way, our way or the highway mentality, and that just does not work. You do not grow by having that mentality.
A few more people jumping on here.
Say hey, good morning.
So Bree's one of our gals in the office. Also, her dad. I always got to talk about her dad. Her dad's one of my good friends. He's also law enforcement here in our fine village of energy. So good morning, Tom, unless you're still asleep from working the late shift. So what's Saul say here?
It says he works on the bigger issues first, then work my way to the smallest. It works for me.
Hey,
see, and I'm the opposite. I knock all the little stuff off because I can do it quick and I feel accomplished.
Yeah. That's a good question. I guess if I remember on the electrical jobs, I would tackle the big stuff first. So yeah, Saul, I would have to agree with Saul when it came to the electrical things. Now, with this business, wow, when I look at my task board, I'd say I probably tackle the small things first, and a lot of them leads up to being able to accomplish the bigger stuff. So my funnel kind of works a little opposite now. Small things lead to the big things for me because there's a lot of little things that I have to get accomplished to make the big picture work. So
right.
Yeah, that's a great comment, Saul. Yeah.
I saw this video with and I may have mentioned this before. I saw this video years and years ago, and it was Minnesota Fats playing pool with Waylon Jennings.
Oh yeah.
And Waylon's like, how do you do this? How do you just knock ball after ball after ball in? He says, and the answer that Minnesota Fats said, he says, take all the easy shots first, and then you won't have any hard shots. And I was like, wow, he's pretty right. So
all right.
I've applied that to my own business, and it works well for me.
I got a cool story about Minnesota Fats. I don't have the book here with me, but I did some work for a lady that used to be Kenny Gray's secretary at the White House or at the Capitol building. And she lives about 5 miles from us. And her house used to be a kind of a go-to place for a lot of these old school pool players like Minnesota Fats. And he spent a lot of time at her house. There used to be a pool hall in Johnson City, Illinois. Have to look it up. And man, I'm telling you, there were some big names that used to come to Johnson City, Illinois to play pool, play music and stuff like that. And Minnesota Fats was one of them. She's got a book that she wrote, and it talks all about the old school pool players and her life as Kenny Gray's assistant. So really neat story. So I was privileged to be able to work in her house and get to hear some of these really cool stories. So anyway,
that's neat. It's cool hearing about some of them old timers.
Yeah. I've been getting into a TV show. It's based out of Canada. Oh, it's like car rescue, but like bar rescue, but it's car rescue type of thing. I'll have to find the name. I'll post it. But these guys and gals, they go all over Canada, especially in the BC area, and they find old cars that are just sitting out in the middle of a farm field or whatever, and they work on purchasing them from the farmer or whoever it is that they found it from, and then they sell them to restorers. So the restorers, but they do this by plane, by semi. They've got an old power wagon. I mean, old school power wagon is a tow truck. It's pretty cool. And they go all over. There's like a team of like 4 or 5 of them. And it's a really neat show. You have to look it up. It's on Hulu. It's something about car rescue, I think is what something. But yeah, really neat show. So
I have to watch it. All right. So
a lot of squirrels today, but they're pretty good.
We talked about the list. Let's get back on track with our list.
Yeah. What's the biggest trap we fall into?
Squirrel traps.
Yeah. Well, I think staying in the field because it feels productive, but the actual truth is if you're not carving out time to work on your business, nobody else is going to. So, I've always literally had to be persistent about putting, CEO time in my calendar just to remind myself that leading is a job in itself. And if you don't make time to lead, you'll always be chasing the next job instead of building your business to the next level. So you got to have that mindset shift. Be careful when you're saying that one. Mindset shift from busy equals productive to thinking and planning equals powerful leadership. I got to say that one again. That was good. You got to have a mindset shift from busy equals productive to thinking and planning equals powerful leadership. Good stuff.
But you can't be a one-man show and make this shift easily. You need to just get some people. You need to start replacing yourself. I mean, that's absolutely the first step, right? So you need a CSR or my office help to take care of your back office stuff. And then you start hiring a tech, and then you hire another tech, and then another tech. So it's once you get one tech, that's when all the fun starts, because then you start building out your processes, and then you start developing yourself as a leader and as a true business owner. Then you can start hiring more once you get further and further along.
I'm chuckling at Saul's comment.
Oh, about saying
it 3 times fast. So I typed it 3 times fast.
There you go.
There you go, Saul.
Don't say that fast. You could really mess that one up.
Yeah. We don't have a filter.
Yeah. So
mindset beep.
What how do you do building the repeatable processes? Obviously, we've talked about this multiple times, and there's a reason that we keep beating this into everybody's head.
Yep.
Because if you don't have processes, you do not have a scalable business. You do not have a smooth working business. You're going to have these processes in place. So how do you do that? How do you do it quickly? Just pick one task. For example, scheduling or answering your phones, whatever it may be, and just document. Just start documenting everything. It doesn't have to be complete. It can be messy as hell, and then you can clean it up later. But just start. There's so many people out there that are like, I don't know where to start, and I just tell them, you start by starting.
Yeah.
You don't have to know where to start. You just have to start. Just pick something and start it. You'll figure it out. The more you pick, the better you're going to be. The more you do, right? Well, it's like anything. You get more experienced at it. You get more used to it. You figure it out really quick.
Yeah. Jojo popped in. Good morning, Jojo.
Morning, Joe.
Yeah, I tell you, the repeatable processes, it's a game changer. I'm definitely one of those that's a big believer in SOPs now. Used to think that it was a waste of time, but going back to the recording a video, one little thing that used to drive me nuts, and I've probably said it on the show before, but locking up the back of the box trucks. There was a specific way that you put the lock on the box truck. If you didn't put it this one specific way, it made it almost difficult to get the key in there to unlock it. And I had time after time, people would put the lock on the wrong way, including my own wife and kids. So I made a video. This is how you put the lock on the box truck. And it's like, I never had to repeat that little stupid thing again. If I came across that somebody put the lock on there, I knew who it was, and I sent them that video. But that's part of the training process. This is how you lock the box truck. I know it's super simple and stupid, but it's one thing that aggravated the snot out of me, and it made it so much easier for other people. So that's the beauty of repeatable processes. They save time, they improve quality, they get rid of stress in your life. They make scaling possible. So,
well, and when you write it down, I'm a big proponent of writing things down. When you write it down, it becomes a contract.
Yeah.
Even if it's just between you and you and yourself and I, write it down, because then it's a contract. It's a contract with yourself. It's a contract with anybody that reads it. Write it down and then refine it. You just write it down and refine it. I'm going through this same exact thing in my business right now, where I'm looking to hire 2 new people, and I'm writing new processes and taking our old ones and we're refining them.
Yeah.
For these new roles that, are highly specialized, but it's getting everything out of my head onto paper. And that's the hard part, right? It's like,
Yeah.
where do you start? Well, you just start. You got to just do something.
Yep.
And then you just improve it over time.
Well, and then once you get those steps down to grow your crew, you got to start assigning them to people. So you can't take on every task. If you do, you're just going to be stressing yourself, being overwhelmed. So start assigning outcomes. So don't assign task, assign outcomes. So just ask the question, what does success look like for this role? And then communicate that clearly to your team. So you got to have that mindset shift from they help me to they own part of this business. Even if they're not owners, just think of them as your team, and every single one of them have a specific part to play in making this business successful, right? Heather, she's our client success manager. She owns that part of the business. Ever since she became the client success manager, our client relations has increased and gotten better. We have less complaints, less people leaving, more people loving the fact that we're communicating better. And that's all because we let Heather take responsibility of the client success aspect of that business.
Yeah, even when you're hiring somebody, and it's so recent because I just interviewed somebody yesterday, and as part of the interview process, it wasn't just you're going to do this role and this task. You're also going to help write SOPs. You're going to help refine those SOPs. 100%. You're going to help, refine project management roles, and you're going to help improve this business. You're not here just to, check boxes. You're here to help improve everything overall. And I set those expectations right up front in the interview process.
Yeah.
And then they get a whole full picture. And I even used the term when I interviewed this person yesterday. I said, I need you to help replace me. And you're a replacement as a part of me, because, I'm doing all this right now. You're going to replace that piece of me as the business owner. And that's what I expect. And I expect you to manage that fully. And, it's one of those things where I have to share that in the interview process so that they understand what I'm trying to do, where I'm wanting to go, and what I fully expect this job role to be, rather than hire them and then surprise them with it later. And then I can say, does this sound like something that you would be interested in? And then you let them make the decision whether they want to come on board or not. If they say yes, okay, I have a good candidate here, and then I interview a couple more, or however many I have for that role, and then, do the same thing, and then just figure out who the best candidate is, right?
Yeah,
but
that's good.
I set that right up front in the interview process, because there's so many times that you can make that mistake and hire somebody and they don't know that you're in that growth stage. They don't know that you're in the middle of scaling. They expect all the systems to be in place, and they expect you to make their job real smooth, right? But if you onboard them with the expectation that they're going to help you through that process, it's much more accepting. And I've done this for many years, and it definitely helps. Once I started doing that mindset shift to do it in the interview process. So if you set those expectations before you even hire them, directly in the interview process, and give them full carte blanche to make that decision on their own, they're going to be a much better employee once you onboard them.
Yeah, that's good.
That's just been my experience with every single person I've hired in the past few years.
So if you're wondering why your team maybe isn't showing up or stepping up, give them ownership, give them chores, give them an outcome to take ownership of. So, like, give your technicians, hey, your job this week is to get 5 Google reviews just this week. Start there and stop micromanaging them, start leading them. They're going to take ownership of that, and they're going to do a better job for their clients because, hey, I want to get 5 Google reviews this week. That's my task. That's what I own this week. So think how much that's going to raise the bar for your business just in that one aspect. That's pretty cool. So it's wild how people show up when they know the goal and they feel responsible for hitting that goal.
Absolutely. You have to define that outcome for everyone that you hire. How will they increase revenue to free up your time? That's why you're hiring people, right? To free up your time so you can do other things.
Wow. I just had this really weird sound. Okay, so we've had tornadoes hitting and we've got inclement weather coming in today, and I'm sitting here thinking, what am I hearing? I forgot we have a new contract in the airport. I have an airport that's literally like 3-4 miles from us, and they have bigger planes, bigger jets that are flying out of that airport now, and I'm hearing this like rumble. I'm like, what the heck is that? Yeah, it's not a tornado, it's a jet.
Good.
But I tell you, everybody's on edge around here right now because of these stupid tornadoes that hit. Another squirrel.
Let me see what JoJo's got. He says, I give my guys $20 for each 5-star Google review. They get paid. Then I pay them cash at the end of the month. That's pretty good.
$20, man. That's pretty awesome. You know, a lot of people are like, well, I give $5, and they thought that's pretty. $20, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I'd be like hammering out every job. Let me help you, Ms. Jones, with getting that Google review.
I'd make more money just following somebody else around getting those 5-star reviews than actually doing the work.
Now, JoJo, are you telling them they have to have their name put in there, or if it just their customer? Because I tell you, I would probably give even more money if maybe an extra $5 on that. So $25 if my technician's name got mentioned in the review. There's another cool thought. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. So we talked about stop hiring for help, start hiring for growth, and defining the outcome for every new hire and how they'll increase revenue to free up your time. Yeah. So what's a quick implementation on that?
That is a great question. What would be a good implementation on that? I know the mindset shift is, I need help I'm building a team that grows the business. What's JoJo saying here? I would usually prefer the username, but sometimes they don't. And I just find out who they are through the schedule. Yeah. So maybe hit them up. Say, hey, your goal this week is to get your name mentioned in every review, and I'll give you $25 for that review.
Yeah. I think he may have misunderstood you about the customer name versus the technician's
name. Yeah.
Technician's name in there.
Yeah. Because most of the time the customer's name's on the Google or Facebook or whoever, but yeah, too often we just hire to get some relief, but relief doesn't equal growth.
So a lot of times, let's talk about this. And I know this isn't in our notes or anything, Jason, but let's talk about this. How do you find people? I mean, this could be a whole segment in its own, but how do you find people? I think if you already have someone, the best place to find someone is with your existing people.
Oh, 100%. Say, hey,
I need someone. Who do you know that would be a good fit for this?
Referrals.
Referrals. Give a finder's fee to your employees.
If you got
that referral,
a rock star team member, why would you not want more of that person? Typically, people hang out with people like them.
Birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, I'm a firm believer with that.
Yeah,
and if you've got a rock star that has a good mindset and he's doing well, chances are he knows other people in his circle that are the same way. And they're probably looking for jobs. These days, people unfortunately aren't loyal, and they'll leave a job in a heartbeat if you've got an opportunity for them that's better. So start looking, through your own people, through your network, and find those A players. And I think you need to go after A players. That's the thing. It's going to cost you more, but it's going to be a lot less headaches. That's what I've done in my business. I used to hire cheap. I used to hire, someone that was marginally trainable. And then I made that mindset shift to going after A players. And when I went after those A players helped me grow my business because they had more experience, and it wasn't me completely training them. All I had to do is train them on the ways that we do things, but they got up off the ground quicker to be more independent in their role, much faster. And they had enough experience that they helped implement things that I didn't realize would be good for our business. So it was costly, but I'll tell you what, it's the way you need to do things.
Yeah.
And if you're at the very beginning of this journey with scaling and hiring, I've told multiple people this: start acting like you already have an employee and start putting those funds into the bank, and act like you're making payroll, and put it in a separate bank account. I don't care. Just pretend that you're actually paying another body in your business. If you don't know if you can afford someone, start pretending like you already have someone. Start making that payroll, and do that for at least 3 months.
Yeah.
And if you can manage that and you do it successfully for 3 months, then you know that you can afford someone. And now when you hire someone,
That's good.
now you've got that buffer of 3 months worth of their pay already built up, and you just keep paying them, and you've got that buffer if you need it during their training process.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great way to start things out, and you won't fall into a hardship once you hire somebody if it goes into a slower season or they need more training than what you expected. At least you got that buffer of
that's
bank
pretty good.
account.
I like that. Well, I know our time is drawing to an end. I'm going to put a few plugs out there. First of all, if you like what you saw or heard today, pay the fee, which is free. You just simply click like, share, subscribe to Appliance Marketing Pros, My Office Help, Service Alliance Group. You see a little QR code right over here. That's my business card. You can scan that and put me in your contacts. And then also right down here, right there, I'm giving you something free. It's our home service automation playbook with My Office Manager. And it's free. It's pretty cool. It's going to give you some really cool tips and tricks. And then I see we got a mastermind coming up for pricing your service. Talk to us about that.
On June 21st.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to talk about pricing your service appropriately. This is a good segue into the topic that we just had. If you're looking to scale, as you scale, your pricing needs to scale along with you.
Yep.
Obviously there's going to be some ceilings to that, but if you're charging $75 an hour for your service call, once you start hiring people, you definitely need to adjust that. You should adjust that now before you start scaling. Adjust it so that you know what the market can bear, and all that additional money can be going into the bank to use for hiring somebody and all those initial expenses that you need to cover. So like I said, start planning ahead. Obviously you're going to have more expenses in the business as you scale. you need to cover those expenses. So your pricing needs to be, your services need to be priced accordingly. So join us, all access members only, on June 21st, pricing your service. We just had one this past Saturday, and Zach did a wonderful job on that. Everybody said that it was a great session. I joined it. I learned a lot, and you will too. So head over to servicealliancegroup.com, sign up for all access membership, and you'll have access to all of our masterminds and all the replays.
Yes, replays are good. Now for one of my favorite parts, if it's in the ending, because I love the guy's voice. Thank you for watching the Service Alliance Group podcast.
Have a great day.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Grind podcast by Service Alliance Group. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you visit our website at servicealliancegroup.com for appliance repair business resources.